Thousands of Palestinians displaced by war are returning to their homes in northern Gaza today, following the announcement of a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Much of the enclave is left in ruins after the two-year conflict. Israel declared a ceasefire in Gaza and pulled back its forces yesterday. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of exhausted Palestinians began making their way back home, unsure of what they may find. As Gazans return, questions loom about the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, and could the upcoming hostage prisoner exchange lead to lasting peace? Let's go now to the CBC's Briar Stewart. She's tracking the latest developments this morning from Sderot, Israel. Briar, what more can you tell us today?
Well, just to give people a sense of where I am, it's in Sderot on an overlook, essentially, where you can see Gaza behind me. Over this shoulder, there's Gaza City. And what officials in Gaza are saying is that over the past 24 hours plus, you've had 300,000 Palestinians make their way from the south to the north into neighborhoods that are heavily damaged. And because you now have this ceasefire in place, given that the Israeli Defense Forces have moved back to a pre-agreed withdrawal line, you have different rescue groups that are now able to go into buildings and into areas that have been destroyed to search for bodies. And we understand from officials that 150 bodies have been found since the ceasefire was put in place at noon. Now, obviously, there are a lot of work going on both here in Israel and in Gaza to prepare for the release of the hostages, and then following that, the release of these Palestinian prisoners. Now, in terms of the hostages, there are 48 of them. Israel believes that 20 of them are alive. The Red Cross will be involved in that whole process, as it has been in the previous incidents. And what Israel had said as part of this deal is that they didn't want the hostages released to be made a ceremony by Hamas, as it has been in the past. I mean, the handover was very orchestrated, quite staged. And in some of the videos that Hamas released, you had kind of armed, masked militants, walking around with guns as the hostages were being turned over. Israel has said that they don't want to see that this time, but of course this is a very fluid situation, and the main thing really is that they want those hostages to be returned. Now, in terms of the Palestinians who will be released from Israeli prisons, there will be 2,000 of them, and 250 of them are prisoners who were facing life sentences in Israel for very serious crimes, convicted in Israel of things like murder, terrorism offenses. The rest of the prisoners are people who have been detained, held in prison over the last 2 years during the war in Gaza. So both of those things are supposed to happen around noon on Monday. That's the deadline, noon, given that the ceasefire started yesterday at noon. So there's a lot of steps being taken right now to prepare for this, but it's a very complicated situation, really being carried out at a time where you have this fragile ceasefire holding.
It's also going to be a huge undertaking, and perhaps even just as complicated, getting the humanitarian aid into Gaza. That's also part of the first phase of the ceasefire. Hundreds of humanitarian aid trucks are expected to start rolling in soon. What do we know about that operation?
Yes, that's right. So as a part of this agreement, they're supposed to see 600 aid trucks go in a day. I was speaking with an aid agency today. They said just a small fraction of that number is going in now. Essentially, they're waiting for the green light from Israel. They're waiting for the Rafah border crossing, which is in the south, to be reopened. And I think what we need to note is that it's going to be the UN that will be in charge of basically coordinating all of this aid, overseeing the distribution of that. And that's a change from in recent months, because as you remember, Israel had put in place this 11-week total aid blockade earlier this year. After it was lifted, this kind of contentious group, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, was brought in. It was kind of in charge of overseeing the distribution of aid. Several hundred people were killed, en route to access aid from those sites. It was a very controversial arrangement. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is still operating, we understand, but it will be the UN that will be in charge of distributing the aid. And the aid groups that I've spoken with over the past 24 hours, they believe that it will be tomorrow on Sunday when we'll really start to see this surge of aid, which is so badly needed, go into the area.
Let's talk about U.S. President Donald Trump's trip to the Middle East. He is expected to depart tomorrow. Do we know any details at this point?
Yes, that's right. He's supposed to be arriving here tomorrow, and he will be addressing Israel's Knesset. There have been reports of various timings. I don't think anything is directly confirmed yet, but one of the times being talked about was around noon. I think that would be highly symbolic, because at that point all of the hostages are supposed to be out. And given that Trump really wants this deal to succeed, I mean, he's received a lot of international praise for his role, and really the US's role in trying to, bring all the parties together and see this through. I think he'll want to address the Knesset only when the hostages have come out. And of course, I mean, Trump is very popular right now in Israel. I mean, you do see American flags around. Where I am at this overlook, it's kind of a public viewpoint. And so there's been quite a few Israelis that have come here this morning, some with binoculars to look to see if they can see what's going on the ground in Gaza. And I spoke with a woman a short while ago, Miriam, who talked to me a little bit about her relief over this agreement, her anxiety that it would hold, and really her feelings about Donald Trump. Take a listen.
We believe that he really worked hard for peace, and he deserved, this Nobel Prize for peace, definitely, because he really worked hard. And we are waiting for him to say to him thank you.
So, I mean, there is a lot of praise for Trump here, but also concern about just what comes next. I mean, this whole agreement is just the first phase, the ceasefire. The real question is what's going to happen in the days ahead, and really who's going to be in charge of governing Gaza as this progresses.
Thanks for this, Briar. That's the CBC's Briar Stewart reporting from Sderot, Israel.